Welcome back to tourism and grade 12. So in this video, I want to look at the preparatory examination of 2023. So we are going to start on the instructions and information, whereby the first instruction reads this question. The paper consists of 5 sections and 10 questions. So we have got 5 sections and 10 questions. So you have to answer all the questions. So that is what we have in terms of the breakdown, in terms of the questions that we have in the question paper. Our part A has got short questions. Part B has got map work and tour planning. Foreign exchange also on the part B, we've got tourism attractions, culture and heritage, tourism and marketing. So these are the sections that we have according to this question paper, which add up to a total of 200 marks. And you are expected to spend on average 180 minutes on the whole question paper. So on the first part of our question paper is on short questions. We start on number 1, which reads: inbound international tourists prefer visiting South Africa when the rand is, obviously when the rand is weak. Why? Because when the rand is weak, it means they need less units to buy the same amount of rands. So it becomes cheaper on their side. So they can easily buy the rands and come to South Africa. So with that sense, we move on to our question 2. Poor environmental practices include the use of. The correct one is, which is showing a poor environmental practice, is high energy using appliances, because you will be wasting energy. So in that case, it is a poor environmental practice. Then we go to number 3. Mexico City is a -6, -6, and then it is a dash hours behind Cairo. Cairo is +2. So in that case, we say plus minus the one that is negative, and the one that is ahead minus the one that is behind. So the ahead one is Cairo, and the behind one is Mexico, since it's a negative. So we are saying 2 minus 6. So obviously we've got a negative and negative will make a plus, and then it becomes 2 plus 6 to give you 8. So we have 8 as the correct answer, which is C. And move on to the next part, which is number 4. A professional staff image of a tourism business includes. So which one is a professional staff image? So with the responses given, you'd see that good communication skills is the most appropriate, which you will see. And we go number 5. The ordinary working hours for an employee in a 5-day working week according to the basic conditions of employment Act is 45 hours. We have on B. Remember that the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, which is the BCEA, it gives effect to the right to fair labor practices. So basically, it prescribes for certain minimum conditions of employment which must be applied or must be adhered to. It comes as a labor law act that sets out aspects of employment such as leave issues, and it also includes wages. Wages issues, working hours, and overtime. So that's the basic description that we have in terms of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. And we'll move on to the next question, which is number 6. An important factor that contributes to the success of an attraction. So with the responses are given, the most appropriate is D, neat and well-maintained appearance of the premises. So we have a D as the correct response. Moving on, number 7, the icon associated with the Holocaust and Hitler. We check according to what we have. We see that B is the most appropriate. B is the correct response. And we got number 8. The World Heritage Site was once home to an advanced African nation that traded in gold and ivory around 1200 AD. So with the responses given, you see that this is the Mapungubwe cultural landscape, which is C. For number 9, the maintenance and preservation of burial grounds of national importance is the responsibility of, this is the SAHRA, which is B. Remember, SAHRA stands for South African Heritage Resources Agents. South African Heritage Resources Agents, which is our B. Then we move on to the next question, which is number 10. For number 10, an international trade show held in London every year that gives businesses a platform to reconnect and rebuild the global tourism industry. It is the WTM, which is A. Then number 11, sustainable and responsible tourism is only achieved when the dash pillars are implemented, which is the environmental, economic, and social pillars. So we have D as the correct response. Then number 12. So number 12, the term of the main responsibilities that an employee performs while at his or her place of work. These are core duties. We have C. Then we move on to number 13. Ways to practice responsible tourism according to the economic pillar they may include ownership given to the local community. We have D. Then we go to number 14. 6 o'clock in the evening is written as dash according to the 24-hour clock. So if we put it in the 24-hour clock, we are supposed to say this is 6 o'clock, so 6:00, and then we add 12 hours to present it in a 24-hour clock. So if we add, you see that we are going to get 1800. So we have 1800A. Then we go to number 15, a negative effect of tourism on the local community. Negative effect of tourism. So we cannot only deduce positives from tourism, but we can also have negative effects. So according to our responses, you'd see that loss of privacy can be also a disadvantage. Is we are seeing that tourists come and then they access our heritage sites. So this becomes an exposure of our secrecies in terms of our heritage. So we move on to number 16. A gas tanker or truck explosion in Volkswagen in 2022 can be categorized as it is basically an accident. So we have an accident, which is D. A global recession results in a global recession results. Obviously, when it's a recession, it's a contraction in global activities. So basically, it's reduced growth in the economy and tourism industry. We have A. So moving on to the next part, which is going to be number 18. An advantage of man application app for a tourist. So we are given a man application app. What is the advantage as required by the question? So you see that the correct response that we have is that it is a convenient and cashless form of payment. We have C. Number 19, delivery WOW customer experience leads to it leads to customer spreading positive word of mouth advertising. That is B. So order 19 we've got B. So moving on to the next part, which is number 20. The graph below represents South Africa's dash markets. We're given number of travelers from imported countries traveling to South Africa. So we are given United Kingdom, Germany, United States. So the question is saying the graph below represents South Africa's dash markets. Of course, these are tourism markets. And if you check United UK, United Kingdom, Germany, United States are the core markets. So we have A as the correct response. So with that, we move on to the next part, which is a 1.2. So 1.2 reads give one term or word for each of the following descriptions by choosing a term or word from the list below. So on the first part, 1 unit, which is equal to both 1 hour and 15 degrees. So what is that unit? 1 hour and 15 degrees. So this is the time zone. So this is 1.2.1. Then protection of resources for future generations is sustainability. So 1.2.2. Then imagine lines that run from north to south. We call them longitudes, which we have 1.2.3. And then a disease caused by parasitic worms that are found in snails. This is bilharzia, 1.2.4. The practice where the clocks are moved so 1 hour forward during summer is called a DST, which is 1.2.5. So this is what we have on the 1.2. Then we move on to the next one, which is 1.3, which reads choose the correct word or words from those within brackets. Write only the words or words next to the question numbers. So of course we have to choose between two that according to the statements that we are given. So on 1.3.1, it reads a passport or a visa is a travel document that identifies a person as a citizen of the country in which he or she was born. So we see that the correct response is a passport. Then 1.3.2, a contract of employment or a code of conduct is a legally binding agreement between a business and its paid workers. So you see that the correct one is contract of employment. Then customs or immigration regulations monitor the entry of goods across the borders of a country. Customs is the correct response. And then we go to the 1.3.4. The economical pillar is also known as the dash pillar. It is the profit pillar. We move on to 1.3.5. When a country requires a recommended or a compulsory vaccination for yellow fever, visitors must have proof of this vaccination to enter the country. So on 1.3.5, we say when the country requires a compulsory vaccination for yellow fever. So we have compulsory, which means everyone has to use it. Everyone should have that. So we have got compulsory as the correct response. Then moving on to 1.4, we have to choose a description from column B that matches the concept in column A, foreign arrivals. So according to our column B, we check which one matches foreign arrivals. If you go to D, the number of international visitors to a country in a specific year is the most appropriate, which we have for D. We check again which one matches length of stay. Of course, we've got various responses. It is the amount of time that a tourist spends at a destination. E, that is the length of stay. Then average expenditure. So we check which one matches average expenditure according to our column B. We check according to our responses that C is the most appropriate period paid for goods and services during a tourist holiday. So the amount, obviously, here is supposed to be the amount paid for goods and services. So we have C as the most appropriate. Number 4, most visitors provinces, Western Cape and Gauteng. So we have G as most appropriate. The activities undertaken, we check now in terms of activities undertaken. The blocks runs bridge bungee jump, which you have on A. So A is the most appropriate. So this is what we have on our first part on our short questions. So on our section B, it's on map work and tour planning, and also we have foreign exchange on section B. So question two is on map work and tour planning. So 2.1, study the world time zone map and the information on the next page and answer the questions that follow. So we are given the world time zone map here that you just need to go through. Then beneath that, we are given information on international tourism and travel show 2023. So we can supposed to go through everything before we start to answer the questions. So the first question reads: calculate the time and date of Miss Kumalo arrival in Montreal, Canada. Arrival in Montreal, Canada. So we refer back to the information given. We see that uh, according to information that we have, we are told that the flight will arrive at Hamad International Airport, Doha, at 2300 hours on Wednesday. And then after a stopover, the connecting flight, which is the second leg of the journey, will depart Doha at 0800 hours, which is in the morning, 8 a.m. in the morning on Thursday, which is 2 November 2023. So that's when the flight is going to leave Doha. And then the flight hours from Doha to Montreal, Canada will be 13 hours. It will be 13 hours. So that is now to Montreal. So the question is asking us arrival in Montreal. So from Doha to Montreal is 13 hours, but it's going to leave Doha at 0800. So basically what we have is we have two places that we have. We have got Doha. We also have Montreal. So between the two, we have 13 hours. So we are saying here we have got 13 hours. But you'd see that the departure time in Doha is 0800 in the morning. And then we first find what is the departure time in Montreal when it's 8 a.m. in Doha. What is the time in Montreal? So we go back to our map to see what is the difference between Doha and Montreal. So if you check where we have our Doha is +3 as indicated. +3. So we are saying we have Doha is +3. And then we check in terms of Montreal, of which our Montreal, we are given it as -5. So Montreal is -5. So basically, in that case, we are going to say 3 minus -5. And it's going to be 3 plus 5. So we have got 8 hours difference in terms of their time zones. So it means if it's 0800 in Doha, which is 8 a.m., we are going to subtract 8 hours because it already means Doha is ahead and Montreal is behind. So if Montreal is behind, we subtract the 8 hours from 0800, 800 hours to get the time in Montreal or the departure time in Doha equivalent to Montreal. So in that case, we are going to say our 0800, and then we subtract 8 hours, the difference, and then we get a 0000, which is 12 a.m. in the morning. Then when we have found the equivalence, we now add 13 hours. So we add 13 hours. 13 hours, and you see that if you add 13 hours, you are going to get 1300 hours. And basically, 1300 hours is 1 p.m. And it's still on 2 November because when we subtracted the 8 hours, we got we got 12 a.m., which is 000000. So in that case, it will be AM, and still it is still on 2 November. And then we add the 13 hours still on 2 November, we go to 1300 hours, which is 1 p.m. So basically, this is our calculation on the part, that part. And you see that our question has got 5 marks. Then I will go to number 2. Ms. Kumalo must call her office in South Africa from Montreal at 1400 hours on Monday, 6 November 2023. Calculate the time that the phone will ring at her office in South Africa. So we need to find the difference between Montreal and South Africa so that we can see the time 1400 hours that it will be in South Africa in that very moment. So in that case, we refer back to the map and see South Africa, where we know that South Africa is +2. South Africa is +2, and we have got Montreal. Montreal, which we have identified as -5. So Montreal -5. So the difference between the two, we have got 2 minus -5, which is 2 plus 5. We've got 7 hours. 7 hours difference. So if it's 1400 hours, South Africa is ahead. So it means it's a plus to 1400 hours because Montreal is behind. So we are supposed to say our 1400 hours, then we add 7 hours. We are going to get 2100 hours, which is basically 9 p.m. So basically that's what we have on that part, which is the equivalence of 1400 hours in Montreal. At the moment, in South Africa, it becomes 100 hours, 100 hours, which is our 9 p.m. So that's the calculation that we have in that part. And then we move on to the next question, which is 2.1.3. Refer your answer. You have to refer your answer to question 2.1.2 to determine if there will be someone in South African-based office at the time of Ms. Kumalo's phone call. Remember, the phone call is, we found that the phone call is 9 p.m. At 9 p.m., obviously, the offices will be closed since it's out of working hours. So the assumption is the office will be closed. The reason is the time is out of the working hours. So check according to answer section, what do we have according to that. So we are saying, no, there will not be anyone in the office at the time of a call. Reason, the office will be closed. It will be 2100 at night. Or you can give a reason that Montreal and South Africa are on 2 different time zones. It is later in South Africa. Or you can say Ms. Kumalo can leave a message for your employer on the answering machine to listen to the next morning. So these are some of the further explanations given in terms of that. Then moving on to the next question. Next question is now on 2.2. Refer to the picture below and answer the question that follow. So the picture you see that is written jet lag, which is fatigue. Then it reads, identify the condition from which Ms. Kumalo is most likely to suffer after her flight from Doha to Montreal. We are seeing that Doha and Montreal are in different time zones. So obviously, the jet lag is going to be the condition that is going to surface. So we have for 2.2.1, we are saying jet lag. And on 2.2.2, give one reason for your answer in question 2.2.1. So basically, the reason of change of time zones across the many time zones between Doha and Montreal. So in that case, it leads to jet lag. So we move on to 2.2.3. Give one preventive measure that Ms. Kumalo can follow before the flight to reduce the symptoms of the condition. So this to reduce the symptoms of jet lag, one of the preventative measures is to drink a lot of water. So these are the ways to minimize the symptoms of jet lag before the flight. Drink lots of water, get enough exercise, get enough rest, eat healthy food before the flight, start to adjust your time to the destination time. So medication also, stay calm also. So these are the response that we give. Then we move on to the next part. 2.2.3, discuss. Okay, this is now the one that we are looking at. So we go to 2.3. Start the information on the safety of tourists and other questions that follow. So this is the information that we have that you need to go through. That is titled, "Are our tourists safe?" Our tourists safe? So we go through the information given. Then 2.3.1, advise potential tourists to South Africa on 2 safety considerations when traveling by car to their destination. So if you read through, you would see that it reads, a trip to Mpumalanga turned tragic for a group of German tourists when one of them was shot dead by armed men. So you see that there is an issue of someone being killed. So what are the two safety considerations when traveling by car to their destination? Obviously, you may have to make sure that you are secure. You have enough fuel so that you don't stop in between high criminal areas. So those are some of the things that you take note. So these are the preventive measures. Do not drive in secluded areas. Leave all valuables locked in the boot of the vehicle. Do not resist in a hijacking. So when you resist, that's when you are going to get killed. Plan your route in advance. Ensure that you have enough fuel for your journey so that the fuel is not finished along the way. Do not give lifts to strangers. Do not give anyone transport. So do not leave your car in an area where there are no people. So these are some of the measures that you have to take note of. Then we move on to the next one, which is 2.3.2. Discuss 2 impacts that the tragic incident described in the article above could have on the tourist industry in South Africa. So obviously, it's going to lead to tourists being afraid to visit South Africa. That's a clear effect. Tourists consider South Africa as unsafe and to seek a safer destination. That's very clear. And also bad publicity, tourists will choose another destination. Then no investors will invest money in such an unsafe destination again. Those are some of the negative effects that we can easily deduce. Then I will move on to the next part, which is 2.4. Start the information below and answer the questions that follow. So we are given information which reads, Mr. Peterson arrives at OR Tambo International Airport after a holiday in the United Kingdom. Mr. Peterson moves through the red channel to declare the following goods in his possession. We have got 400 cigarettes, 20 cigars, 50 milliliter perfume, 3 times 750 milliliter of wine. Then 2.4.1, we selected 2 items from the list above where the full quantities in Miss Peterson's possession will be allowed as duty free. So duty free is what is being asked. So we have got 20 cigars and 50 milliliter fuel. These are the duty free. So we are saying these ones are duty free. And then the next sentence, identify the 2 items on which Mr. Peterson will have to pay an extra amount of duty. So in paying an extra amount of duty, we have got 400 cigarettes and wine. That's where we have an extra amount of duty. Then B, give the allowed number of volume for each of the 2 items identified in question 2.4.2. That will be duty free. So the duty free one, give the quantities. So duty free one, we identify the cigars and perfume. So what is the required quantities on those ones? So you see that the quantities that we have is 400 cigarettes and 3 times 750 milliliter wine. So this is what we have. On the required quantities, we are saying 20 cigars and in terms of cigars and perfume, 20 cigars and 50 milliliter perfume. Then on the next part, 2.4.2, we check according to. Going back to our question, you'd see that P is saying give the allowed number of volume for each of the two items identified in question 2.4.2a. So we are here. That would be a duty free. So the quantities is 400 cigarettes and 3 times 750 milliliter wine. So we are saying 400 cigarettes and 3 times 750 milliliter wine. So that is the correct response on that part. Then moving on to our 2.5, refer to the statement below and answer the question that follows. So we're given a TB is the leading cause of main deaths according to State SA. So the first question reads, explain 2 ways in which tourists can take precautions from being infected with tuberculosis. So what are the precautions that can be taken to avoid tuberculosis? So these are the measures. Avoid all contact with infected people, especially those with a persistent cough. Always wash your hands thoroughly. It's another precaution. Wear a mask in the presence of TB infected people. Try to avoid crowded areas. Also, always try to be in ventilated areas. So this is what we have on that part. Then next question, give one way in which tuberculosis infection can be treated. One way in which it can be treated. So in that case, we check according to the responses that we have. So one way it can be treated is to complete the course of medication. Complete the course of medication. And also, you have to take prescribed medication for 6 to 12 months without missing a day. So that's another precaution. So we are saying we've got 2 precautions that we've mentioned. Complete the course of medication, 1. 2, take prescribed medication for 6 to 12 months without missing a day is another precaution. So that's it. Now, according to the treatment, you have to take the prescribed medication for 6 to 12 months. So that is on 2.5.2. These are the points that we have. Take prescribed medication for 6 to 12 months and then complete the course of medication. So basically, this is what we have on the treatment part of a TB. So our question three is on foreign exchange. So you have to start the foreign exchange rate table and the picture below and answer the questions that follow. So show all calculations and round off the answers to 2 decimal places. So this is the exchange rate table that we need to just go through. Then we're given a picture of spot the currency. Then first part, give the international 3-letter code for the currency in the picture above. Of course, it is the euro. So the 3-letter code is EUR. So basically, this is the code. Then 3.1.2, choose the symbol from the list below for the currency in the picture above. So of course, the symbol for euro, we see it on B. So this is the symbol. Then 3.1.3, Miss Aiden is a South African diplomat preparing to work at the United Nations in New York. She needs to convert 50,000 rands to US dollars to use for expenses. Calculate the amount she will receive in US dollars. So obviously, this person needs to buy US dollars. The person is rands, but needs to buy US dollars. So if you need to buy US dollars, you go to the selling rate. So we go to the selling rate of US dollars, which is on this part. Here, that's where we've got the USD. Because of United States of America, USD is the currency of United States of America. Then you go to the selling rate, which we are given as 17.53. So 17.53. We now say 50,000 to convert it down to US dollars is 50,000. And we divide it by 17.53. And obviously, you get, remember, it's to 2 decimal places. You get 2,000, which is now USDs, which are dollars. 2,852 rands 25 cents. So this is what we have for this part. We now move on to the next one, which is saying Mrs. Smith, a British doctor, visits South Africa for the summer holidays. He has £1,000 in cash to spend in South Africa. Calculate the amount in ZAR that he will receive at a bank for his 1,000 rand. So this person needs to sell the pounds. Sell the pounds, and when selling to the bank will be buying. So we go to the buying rate of the pounds, buying rate of the pounds according to our table. So you see that our pound is for the Great Britain, UK. On this part, and we've got a buying rate of 20.06, which is 20.06. So it means we are going to multiply 1,000. It's going to be 1,000 times 20.06, and then you get your answer is 20,060 rands. So in terms of our rands, it is 20,060. And remember, this is two decimal places. So this is the calculation that we have on this part. Then moving on to the next question, which is now 3.2. Study the information below and answer the questions that follow. You are given tourism contributes to the GDP. So this is the information that we have. Then beneath that, first, the question reads, in a paragraph, discuss the impact of a strong rand on inbound tourism and the GDP. So we have to check the impact on inbound tourism, and also you check the impact on GDP. So that is what we have for this part. But of course, inbound tourism is those tourists that are coming into South Africa. So what is the impact when the rand gains a value? So when the rand gains value, it means for the tourists, they need more units to buy the same amount of rands. So in other words, it's now expensive to buy rands if the rand has become stronger. So in that case, we are going to see less inbound tourists coming in, and that's the impact. And also, the local goods are less going to be demanded. We are going to see the demand going down, since it's now expensive for foreigners to come and buy those goods. So typically, those are explanations that we have on that part. So on that part, we are saying impacts on strong rand on inbound tourism. This will result in a decline in inbound tourism, and also demand for goods and services will decrease. South Africa will become an expensive destination that will deter tourists from visiting the country. The tourists will have low purchasing power, and then they will receive less rand for their money. So this is exactly what will be the result. Then impact on the GDP of the country. Obviously, the GDP is going to be negatively affected. We're going to see a reduction of the GDP. Fewer services and products are needed because of the decline in tourism numbers. Therefore, the GDP will be lower. The contribution of the GDP of South Africa will be less, which is also correct. And then tourism becomes more expensive, and price for tourism products gets less competitive. So these are some of the impacts that we have on the GDP. Remember, the GDP is described as the total monetary value, or the market value of the goods that are being produced in the local economy. And that describes GDP. That is, goods that are being produced within the boundaries of South Africa describes GDP. So this is what we have on our section B. You see that it has a total of 50 marks. And of course, we need to move on to the next section. Moving on to our question 4, it reads, study the pictures below that were extracted from a travel magazine and answer the questions that follow. So you are given the pictures that you just need to go through. We have got picture A, B, C, and D. So in terms of the first question, it reads, give the full names of the icons A, B, C, and D. Of course, if you go to A, you'd see that this is the Big Ben. So we can just name it the Big Ben. Then you go to B. B is the Tower Bridge. Then we go to the next one is our C. And the C is the Tower of London. And then we go to our D. At D, it is the Buckingham Palace. So we can write it as the Buckingham Palace. So basically, this is what we have on 3.4.1.1. Then on next question, name the continent in which all the icons in question 4.1.1 are located, and obviously they are located in Europe. So we go to number 3, identify the icon where the crown jewels of the royal family are kept safely. It is on C, which is the Tower of London. Tower of London. And then 4.1.4, name one important fact about icon B. Icon B, remember it is the Tower Bridge, as indicated, Tower Bridge. The Tower Bridge is a drawbridge in London, which crosses the River Thames near the Tower of London. So that's where we have the Tower Bridge. Then in terms of the question now, the question requires us to mention one fact about that Tower Bridge. So you see that it is a suspension, a bridge that stretches across the River Thames, and it has two 64-meter high towers on either side. The towers are connected by a walkway, and then it is wide enough for cars to cross over the bridge, and the bridge opens for large ships to sail through. The twin towers, walkways, and engine rooms are exhibition spaces tourists can visit. So any one point can be correct according to the requirements of the question. Then you go to 4.1.5, which leave everyone deserves to enjoy the world famous tourist attractions we have to offer in London. People with disabilities are no exception, said the British Minister of Disabled People. Explain two ways in which attractions can become universally accessible. So we see that in that case, they can be universally accessible in the case that there should be a lift to access all levels of an attraction. So lifts, there should be a lift to attract all levels of an attraction, and these lifts must be buttons for easy access to people in wheelchairs. So see that in that nature, it can be easy for disabled. So we also have accessible toilets must be available. Special entrances to attractions should be closer to easy access, and that is near parking areas, and also special parking spots should be available for wheelchair-bound tourists. So further points we also have that are also correct in terms of that part. And then we move on to the next question. Start the picture and the information below. Answer the question that follow. We are given the picture of the Kremlin in Moscow. Information also we have according to the picture. And then our first question is complete the sentence below. The icon in Moscow pictured above is in Kremlin, which is located in this country. Of course, we know that Moscow is in Russia. So the country is Russia. Then 4.2.2, discuss one function of the Kremlin. So in terms of the function of the Kremlin, you'd see that it is the seat of the Russian parliament. It is a symbol of Russian authority. That is responsible for 4.2.2. Then we go to 4.2.3. The city has spent large amounts of money to become a destination that tourists would like to visit. Discuss 3 ways in which the image of the city has improved to attract more tourists. So on 4.2.3, they've improved their public transport services, facilities, hotel services, and public safety. So that's the first point. They have improved tourist police services to assist foreign tourists. Signage translated into English to make moving around easier for tourists, and police speak main languages. These are some of the points that we can include on that part. And from 4.2.3, we go to 4.3. This is the last part of our question 4. Predict 2 impacts that the invasion attack on the Ukraine could have on the tourism industry in the country mentioned in question 4.2.1. Obviously, this is going to have a negative effect. So we see that the invasion tarnished or damaged the image of the image that Russia has built, and tourists took a stand against Russia and decided not to visit. because obviously when there's war, tourists obviously they do not visit that place. Tourists felt unsafe and cancelled their trips to Russia. Inbound tourist numbers of Russia dropped. So those are some of the negative effects that were there due to the war. Question 5 reads, start the pictures below and answer the questions that follow. So we're given the Maloti at Drakensberg Park. So we've got pictures that we have of the Maloti Drakensberg Park. So we go to the question part whereby it reads, name the organization responsible for awarding the status of World Heritage to the attraction. So you see that this is UNESCO. We have UNESCO, and then on the second part, give the category under which the Maloti Drakensberg Park was declared as a World Heritage Site. So obviously, we are supposed to refer to the picture. So it is a criterion B. Then moving on to the next part, which is 5.3. The site was officially listed according to one of the criteria that follows. Select the correct criterion A or B, right? Only criterion A or criterion B. So you'd see that the correct one is a criterion B. Then we move on to 5.4. 5.4 is the Maloti Drakensberg Park plays an important role in South Africa's rich heritage. Right, one paragraph in the importance of this site, in which the following aspects are discussed. First, the importance of the sand rock found on the Maloti Drakensberg Park. Then also the reason why the site needs to be preserved or protected. Two tourist activities that can be enjoyed at the site. So within that context, you'd see that this is what we have. The importance of the sand rock art, and the rock art is a visual record of the sun's ancient past. It gives a perspective into the lives and beliefs of our ancestors. Then on the reason of preservation of the site, it represents one of the earliest forms of creativity in humans. So these are the explanations on that part. Then on some of the activities include you could go hiking to enjoy one of the most panoramic views, and also horse riding through the amazing grasslands. So we have got other points that are also correct that we can also include. And this marks at the end of our question 5. And we move on to the next question, which is question 6. So this is question 6. Question 6, we start the pictures below and answer the questions that follow. So we're given the travel trade shows where we have got the ITP Berlin and also the Getaway Show. So the pictures represent two travel trade shows. Give one difference between the travel trade shows by referring to where it takes place. So obviously, we need to come up with the differences between the ITP Berlin and the Getaway Show. So in that sense, we see that the ITB Berlin is an international trade show and the Getaway Show is a local trade show. So that's the first difference. And also the ITB takes place in Berlin, Germany, whereas the Getaway Show takes place in Cape Town, South Africa. So they take place in two different continents or countries. So you see that we've got the Getaway taking place in South Africa, and then we've got Germany in Europe. So that's what we have for that part. Then 6.2, discuss two important roles of trade shows in marketing South Africa as a destination of choice. Two important roles of trade shows in marketing South Africa as a destination of choice. So 6.2, it allows tourist businesses to showcase their products and services. It is an excellent platform for marketing and talking about industry trends. You can come face to face with potential customers, tour operators, and travel agents. It is an opportunity to introduce new products and services to industry providers. So these are the points that we have on 6.2. So moving on to 6.3. Some service providers, for example, hotels and car rental agencies, collect tourism levies from tourists and forward it to TOMSA and TBCSA. Explain two ways how the service providers benefit from being tourism levy contributors. So you'd see that the marketing by TBCSA and SA Tourism, for example, speed marketing sessions, higher number of tourists because of marketing done by SA Tourism. So basically, these are the points that we have. And then also, you've got the service providers get discounted space as exhibitors at the trade shows. And we also have accommodation providers get discounted rates on the grading fees. We have further points that are also correct on that. But this is what we have in terms of our section C with a total of 50 marks. And we take note, we have 50 marks, and from there, we are supposed to move on to the next part of our question paper. So our question 7 reads, start the information below and answer the question that follow. We are given the business card information. Then on the question that we have reads, identify two aspects of the business card above that indicate a professional image of the tourism business. So the aspects that we have is that we have got a slogan that we have is indicated here, your dreams come true. There's a slogan. We see that there are contact details. In terms of the phone number, we also have the email. We also have the issue of the website, presence of website on this part. If you check again, it is neat and well laid out, which is also one of the areas that we can indicate. So basically, this is what we have. So we are saying the name of the company or business, it's one of them, logo, slogan, website presence, marketing material, neat, well laid out, a name of person and disposition. So these are the areas that we have that we can indicate. Then in terms of the next part, explain two reasons why it is important for a tourism business to have a professional image. Why it should have a professional image. Of course, to have a professional image, it obviously leads to good good publicity, which ends up benefiting the business by having repeat visits of our customers. So basically, that's what we have. So it increases the customer base. So basically, these are the points that you can include. So the first one, we're saying to build a relationship of trust with customers and also to receive a good word of mouth and to receive repeat visits to increase the customer base and to promote the company's brand. So these are the points that we have. 7.2, give one way in which an employee of a tourism business can use the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So remember, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, it gives effect to the right to fair labor practices. So that's what we have. So we are saying one way in which an employee of tourism business can use the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So you'd see that to protect the rights of the employee and the employer. It gives guidance in law-related issues. So these are the points that we have, the 2 points that we have on that part. So we go to 7.3, start the cartoon below and answer the question that follows. We're given a cartoon. One of them is saying it looks like they expect us to work through lunch, and then the other one is saying it is not a problem on what they pay us. I cannot afford lunch. So this is what we have in terms of the cartoon. Then question reads, state whether the company in the cartoon above complies with the provisions of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So you're going to see that no, it doesn't comply. Why? Because the company should allow lunch breaks as set out in the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So since we are seeing that they are not being given the privilege of lunch, so that becomes a breach that is there according to the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So we are saying the company is not compliant. The company should allow lunch breaks as set out in the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So that's what we have. Then explain by referring to the cartoon how the company violates the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So that is now on our 7.3.2. So we are saying in the cartoon they are required to work during their lunch break, which is a violation of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, and also the employees are not compensated for working during the lunch break. So those are some of the breaches that we can easily point out. Then on B, give one regulation contained in the Basic Conditions of Employment Act with regard to lunch breaks. So in regard to lunch breaks, we are saying all employees should have a 45 minutes to an hour break after 5 hours of continuous work. That is according to the BCEA. Well, also, employees can only work during lunch by agreement or if there is a compensation. So those are the terms in terms of the BCEA, which is the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So with that, we move on to question 8. Question 8 reads, read the case study below and answer the questions that follow. So we've got a case study that we have here that we need to go through. Then on the question part, it reads, choose the correct word from those within brackets. Ecotourism is tourism that focuses on preserving the dash environment. So the correct response is the natural environment. So we have natural. Then 8.1.2, give two ecotourism principles used by a group boss private natural reserve as a guide in their actions. So we also have to refer back to the information that we are given. So on the sentence, it reads, a group boss has been committed to the conservation of the region's biodiversity as well as the upliftment of the local community from the beginning. So it means in that case, there is the building of the environmental and the cultural awareness and respect that is there. So we also can include that one. So we are saying on that part is two. One of the points to have minimum impact on the natural environment, to promote and uplift the community, to build environmental and cultural awareness and respect, to provide a positive visitor experience, and further points that we also have that are supporting that. Then on the next part, which is now 8.2, group boost private and nature reserve is a prime or good example of how to practice ecotourism principles. Evaluate whether group boost private nature reserve applies the triple bottom line approach. Your answer must include the three pillars and explanation from the text to support each pillar. So we are going to deduce a social pillar, environmental pillar. So we have social pillar as the first one, which is a job creation for the local tour guides, as indicated in the information that we have, an upliftment of the local community, local trained field guides assist tourists, and non-profit programs benefit local people. Then in terms of the environmental pillar, we have got alien vegetation has been removed, damaged areas have been restored, the pristine botanical reserve is maintained. So these are the points supporting environmental pillar. Then you go to economic pillar, 80% of employed staff is from the local community, and the reserve employs 150 full-time staff. So in terms of employing full-time staff, here it is group boost employs 150 full-time staff, of which 80% comes from the local community. So everything that is included in terms of supporting is there in the information that we have. So this becomes the last part that we have in terms of our question, in terms of our question 8. Question 9 is on domestic, regional, and international tourism. So our question 9 reads, read the information below and answer the questions that follow. So you're given the information of where human rights are violated. So that's the headline that we have of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. So you need to go through the information given. Then I believe that we've got the question part whereby it reads, choose the correct answer from those within brackets. So it reads, the FIFA Soccer World Cup is classified as a global event. So obviously this is a sporting event. So we say sporting global event. Then Then point 1.2, discuss one positive impact on the infrastructure development as a result of the global event. So obviously, when there is that global event of this FIFA Soccer World Cup, there will be infrastructure development that will be taking place to the hosting country. So the question requires us to come up with a positive impact on the infrastructure development. So we're going to see that we are going to see better roads are being constructed. So we are going to see even the medical facilities are also going to be upgraded for the case of the event that is going to be held. Even better and efficient transport services are going to be put in place. So those are some of the positive impacts that we can deduce from that. So we've got a list of them on this part whereby we are going to have new or upgraded stadiums, better roads or new roads leading to attractions, and then also improved services, for example, emergency response teams, accessible medical care, improved signage in areas where it is required. So these are some of the points that you can include on that part. So on the next question, it is discuss two ways in which the negative publicity damages the image of the host country. So if you come here, you would see that it reads nearly 90% of the workforce in Qatar was from outside Qatar and worked in construction, in homes, and in hotels. They were not treated well. They were not treated well, and many people died. So those are the points that to take note that led to the negative publicity. So those are some of the points that we can try to note as we comment on the ways in which a negative publicity damaged the image of the host country. So we've got allegations of human rights abuses which will damage the host nation's image, which are then also indicated in the information that we have. So with that, we see that these are the points to include. Allegations of human rights abuses will damage the host nation's image. All Qataris will be seen in this light. So it means everyone that is living in the country of Qatar will be seen within that context. And then there could be trade restrictions imposed by the global community. That's another point that we can include. International travel to and from country might be limited. So we also have workers may not be so eager to take on work in Qatar. So these are some of the points that we can include on that part. Then on the next question is 9.2. Study the picture below and answer the questions that follow. So we've got a picture that is showing that there are floods that are taking place, which is the Hurricane Ian, is indicated on the Then we go to first question. Complete the following sentence. Hurricane Ian was an unforeseen occurrence and is an example of a. And of course, this is an unforeseen occurrence. That is the floods that we have, and it's a natural disaster. So we are saying it's an example of a natural disaster. Then 9.2.2. Months after Hurricane Ian hit Florida, USA in September 2022, efforts are still ongoing to restore the basic services and facilities. Critically discuss two negative economic impacts that the hurricane had on the tourism industry on the affected areas. So, what are the negative economic impacts on the affected areas in terms of the tourism industry? So, obviously, people who wanted to visit some places had their trips cancelled due to the floods. That is a clear negative impact that we can clearly deduce. So, we are saying on 9.2.2, access to all facilities services were disrupted, which is very clear due to the floods that we have. And then also damage to infrastructure. Tourists will not be able to leave the area or travel to the area. No electricity or water to use. Tourism businesses cannot operate. So these are some of the points that we can include. Loss of tourism income for related businesses, and also further points that we have that are also correct. Then moving on to the next part, months after hurricane, so we have answered on 9.2.2, that is on two negative impacts, economic impacts that the hurricane had on the tourism industry. So we move on to the next part, which is 10.3. Start the cartoon below and answer the question that follow. We are given a cartoon of the development of methods of payment. So we have got now and then, tap to pay, So it's that this is a card that is being tapped. And the 9.3.1 identify the two forms of payment shown in the cartoon. Of course, on the first cartoon, you see that there's cash that is being carried. We have got cash as a method of payment. And then we've got a card that we have also as a method of payment. So we are saying we have cash, also debit cards, credit card, contactless payments, tap to pay can also be marked correct. So on the next part, refer to the method of payment that is shown it now. Now we are here. So the method of payment is the debit card that we have there. Uh, Discuss one advantage and one disadvantage of this form of payment. Of course, it is faster and convenient. You don't need to go to the bank to withdraw money. You can just process your payment where you are. That is an advantage. So, but the disadvantage is that in the case that maybe in some instances that the machines that are used to tape and do not have power, it will negatively affect as the payment cannot be processed. So, those are some of the disadvantages. So, in terms of advantages, no contact is necessary when using this form of payment. A customer only taps a card and payment is made. No need to to carry cash, which is safer. I don't need to remember or type in your PIN for smaller amounts. It is fast and convenient method of payment. So these are advantages. The disadvantages, attempt to pay fraudsters can withdraw money by being in close contact with the card. And also, if lost or stolen cards still be used to make payment in the absence of the owner. So if the person get access of the PIN, can use that card. That is a disadvantage. So electricity is needed for some transactions. So electricity also power is a problem. If it's not there, sometimes the transaction cannot be processed. So these are some of the disadvantages that we have. So moving on to 9.4, give one reason why a South African tourist would prefer to use a preloaded foreign currency debit card when traveling overseas. So you'd see that in that case, it is safe to use, no need to carry large amounts of cash, easy to use, which is convenient. You cannot overspend on the holiday. Know the exchange rate for the trip upfront, cost effective, can be used at all outlets that accept credit card. So those are some of the points that you can include in terms of preloaded, uh, in terms of a preloaded foreign currency and debit card. So this is the last part that we have in terms of our question 9. Question 10 reads, start the picture below and answer the questions that follow. So you're given a picture of the Daisy Hotel in terms of customer satisfaction. There is an issue of rating of service. Please rate our service in the form of excellent, good, bad, terrible. So it's a rating scale that we have there. And then on the first part, identify the feedback method used by the Daisy Hotel as shown in the picture above. Of course, this is a satisfaction rating card. A satisfaction rating card is indicated in the answer section. A satisfaction rating card, you can also call it a customer survey or a feedback card. So we move on to the next part. Ms. Rowan is appointed as the new general manager at the Daisy Hotel. She is not familiar with the method of feedback as shown in the picture above. You are a consultant and Mr. Rowan asked for your opinion about this method. Give one advantage and one disadvantage of the feedback method pictured above. So the disadvantage is that there is no detailed information that you can get when someone rates. You don't know on what basis is that person you are basing, so that that person is coming up with that rating. No further information can you get, so it becomes a disadvantage. So that is what we've in looking at an advantage point of view, you see that it is quicker and easy. You can quickly easily interpret it in terms of the ratings, since the information can be quickly you can quickly acquire that information. So basically, this is an advantage that we can pick from this rating method. So in terms of an advantage, we're saying easy to interpret and complete. Fast to complete saves time. Convenience usually available at the reception counter of the hotel gives clientele an opportunity to express their positive feedback. or dissatisfaction before they leave. Otherwise, word of mouth might affect their dissatisfaction levels. So also emojis are understood in all languages. So that's it. That is an advantage. That is also an advantage. Then we go to a disadvantage is the hotel will not get exact information from the cards. You don't get the actual information that you are looking for. The feedback is very vague, not detailed, further information that we have also further points that are also correct that we can also include. And this is the last question that we have in terms of our question paper. And thank you for listening, and hopefully the video was helpful. And please let's not forget to subscribe and share to our channel and share the link to our colleagues who are doing Red Tourism. As for this video, I'm out.